guys, welcome back. So I wanted to follow up my previous video with this one, which is 5 tips for healing after dealing with narcissistic abuse, because even though I recognize it's a good thing for me to be vulnerable with y'all and share my story and what I've been through, that's very important to me, but I don't like to just talk about the trauma and the pain and the hell that we go through, dealing with this crap. I'm a very solution-oriented person, and I don't like talking about problems if we're not going to talk about solutions. Okay. So here I have 5 tips for healing after narcissistic abuse, and these are just things that I have found that have helped me along my journey. And if you see me looking down, it's just at my notes, because I do have ADHD, and I'm trying to keep my content as focused as possible. But anyway, number 1 is take a break from dating and focus on yourself so that you can start to rebuild your life. This is huge because when we go through narcissistic abuse, it fragments us. It causes leakages and blind spots and cuts and energetic cracks within our being in every dimension. I mean, dealing with this type of abuse is detrimental on a spiritual level, but also on an emotional and physical level. And by the time you get out of it, there is just a lot of repair and rebuilding that needs to be done. And the more time that you have to focus on yourself right now, the better. And also, when we deal with this type of relationship, usually there is some area or multiple areas of our lives that are destroyed. Whether it be our finances or our goals, our businesses, our relationships with our friends and family, because they try to isolate us. There is a lot of repair that needs to be done. And also you need to work on gaining your independence back, because a lot of times, in some way, they have taken that from you. And the more confident that you are in your being, the more sovereign that you are, and self-assured and all of that you are when you choose to get back into dating, the better off you'll be. And another thing is, you do not want to leave one narcissist, go back into dating, and end up with another one. I see that happen a lot because women, a lot of us, don't take the time to do the inner work, to set the boundaries, to figure out what made us vulnerable and susceptible in the first place. That's a big one. That's not me victim blaming, okay? Narcissists are very crafty and very cunning. But, for example, for me, what made me vulnerable when I fell victim to this asshole was my dad had passed the year prior. And I was still dealing with that grief and that pain. And I also did not have a strong support system at the time. So those two things, along with unhealed trauma from my childhood, made me very vulnerable and susceptible to a narcissist. And so once I figured that stuff out, I could do the inner work to fix that stuff, instead of ending up with another narcissist. Number 2 is journaling, getting your feelings out, giving your emotions a place on paper, and also brainstorming your ideas, like what you actually want for your future, and tracking your moods, tracking your emotions, your progress. I know for me, once I started journaling, I was able to really look at my feminine cycle, every month, and see what kind of fluctuations that I go through and how I can best manage my life around it, because I'm not going to stop being a woman. I'll have this cycle, for a long time. And with me being neurodivergent and having ADHD, there's a lot of ups and downs throughout the month. And the more that we can become aware of that as women, and we can kind of work with ourselves and work with our bodies instead of against it, the better. And that is going to really help us as women get back to a regulated state, because usually when you come out of this type of relationship, you are very, very much dysregulated, understandably so, because your nervous system has been through hell and back, okay? And you don't have to share your journal with anyone. You can just keep it to yourself. And I try to make it a morning practice along with my prayers and my Vulvada and my ancestor altar. But it's also helpful for manifesting and affirmations and stuff like that. So journaling has a lot of uses in healing. Number 3 is cleansing and protection work spiritually. Learning how to cleanse yourself on a regular basis, because if you have been targeted by a narcissist, especially a spiritual narcissist, chances are you are an empath. You are a spiritual being. You are very absorbent. You're very intuitive. You're very sensitive. And if you are trying to be on your healing journey, but you're absorbing other people's energies and emotions, and you're not cleansing yourself, you're going to make it 10 times harder on yourself, because you are not only dealing with your emotions, which are bad enough at this point because you dealt with this asshole, you're also dealing with other people's BS. So learning how to cleanse yourself is very helpful in the healing process, along with protection work, learning how to do different protection spells and stuff with your ancestors and with your spirit guides to help protect your life and your energy and your path and all that. And if you need further help with this, check out the mentorship that I offer. It's one-on-one. It's a 12-week program. It's tarot and witchcraft combined. You can check that out at sirensnectar.com/mentorship. Okay. Number 4 is cord cutting regularly, especially if you dealt with a spiritual narcissist, because they will try to attach cords to you and put hooks in your aura to try to drag you back or try to siphon from you. Okay, they love any type of binding magic, cord magic, amarres, love bindings, etc. So learning how to cut those cords is very helpful. That's another thing I can teach you in my mentorship. And I want you guys to be aware, depending on how severe that the narc is, the cord cutting is not just going to be a one-time thing, especially if you are the one that ended the relationship, like you are the one that walked away. They are going to be relentless. Okay, and trying to attach themselves to you in any way that they can. So just be aware of that. Cord cutting is not difficult to do, but it's very much necessary. Number 5 is invest in spiritual healing. And the reason that I say this is because when we go through this type of abuse, our soul fragments. We lose parts of who we are. We lose trust for ourselves. We lose hope in a lot of ways. We just lose some of the best parts of us. And what I do as a spiritual healer in our sessions is I talk you through the trauma. We identify what happened, what's going on, why you're feeling this way, and then how to fix it. Or if you're dealing with blockages and stuff, we also work through that. But my job as a spiritual healer is to help put your literal soul back together. Because narcissists at their core want to destroy and disrupt their victims on a soul level. And, you get a new body every time you incarnate. You get a new brain every time that you incarnate. But your soul is what goes with you. And I really, really make it a point to be a safe space for y'all. I have a lot of soft, loving, nurturing energy. I love pouring into y'all and just holding that safe space for you and letting you spaz the fuck out a little bit and release, And if you need spiritual healing, you can go to sirensnectar.com/booking and you can book the spiritual healing session. They are 90 minutes. And it's a combination of divination, so you will receive a spiritual reading, but after that we also work through the pain or the trauma or the blockages. And if you want to work deeper with me, you can actually go to sirensnectar.com/healing and check out my 8-week one-on-one healing container, where we really dive deep and put a lot of time and energy and effort into helping you to reclaim your soul and put it back together. Okay, I love you guys. If you have any questions, just comment below. And if you would like to check out my offerings, just go to sirensnectar.com. Thank you.